today, basically what we're talking about is documents on the go. And it's document generation and processing in Dynamics 365 mobile apps. Basically what we're going to cover is what's available kind of app-wise from Microsoft, a few of those things, and then what DCP actually brings to the table, okay? So the first thing we want to talk about here when we talk about that is the D365 mobile applications. Looks like a lot of you guys are familiar with these. A lot of you guys use these. First one, of course, is the Dynamics 365 sales app, right? You kind of think about this. This is usually what the majority of us use on our desktops, right? When we're using Dynamics, right? We're using the sales app, the sales application in Dynamics, right? Basically, this app is kind of tailored to kind of your sales guy on the go, right? The guys out in the field, the sales guys out in the field. Basically, they're able to like look at their ops, look at their meetings, everything like that, just straight from their phone. They're not having to like open up their laptops and check everything. You're able to check those really, really easily and easily stay on top of everything. Okay. The Dynamics 365 Field Service app. This is more towards kind of geared towards your service people out in the field, right? Okay. You think about more along the lines of, say, like somebody who goes out and does inspections at a customer site or a customer plant or something like that. Say like elevator inspections or fire alarm inspections, things of that nature. The one thing that it does have that's really, really interesting for this one is it does have a really robust offline capabilities, right? So if you, you don't always have to have a connection. Sometimes, when you're in these larger factories and things like that, you don't have a connection, but you're still able to use this thing. Now, of course, before we get to kind of this question here, I'm going to go ahead and tell you that, the question usually is, does DocumentsCorePack work? Does it have offline capabilities as well? Unfortunately, at this time, that is a no. It is something that we are looking into. We're always kind of weighing, like how can we leverage this or how can we bring this into the product? But right now, it is the answer to that is DocumentsCorePack does not have the offline capabilities like the field service app does. Okay, just so you know that. Last but not least is your Power Apps mobile app. All right. Your Power Apps mobile app is kind of like the catch-all, right? It's going to, you're able to do like everything that you can do like in CE, shows every CE model-driven or canvas-built Power App. So, you have access to, you can use your sales, you can use field service in there. The only thing though is that some of the capabilities, like the offline capabilities and things like that, you can't do that like in the Power Apps mobile app, right? It's just kind of like the catch-all, right? So it's one of those things where, if like I use this basically to test any of the apps that I create or anything like that, if I'm testing for mobile or things of that nature, right? So really, really easy app to use. All right. Let's talk about the document generation options that you have in all these. And of course, manually, if you want to manually create any kind of documents whatsoever, you do have complete use of the dialogue inside of these apps, right? So as most of you, it looks like most of y'all, based on y'all's responses to the survey, y'all have used DocumentsCorePack before, so you've definitely used the dialogue before. So there's, it basically allows everybody to generate documents manually. Like it's basically user driven. It's totally user driven, right? So you're familiar with this before. If you want to, decide everything yourself, you can actually, select your file type, select whether or not you want to do email attachments, et cetera, et cetera. Also, you do have the ability to do, to use the one-click actions, right? So that's available in all the apps. So automation as well, with Power Automate, you have the ability here, of course, to anytime you create, update, or delete data on Dataverse, you can use that to trigger a flow, right? So basically, because you can trigger a flow, you have access to the DocumentsCorePack connector where you can create documents. Good example of this would say, like, if I'm a sales guy, I need to come up with a quote real quick. I activate that quote, and on activation of that quote, that's going to fire off my flow. My flow is then going to create a quote. It's going to attach that quote to an email, and it's going to send that right to my customer, right, that I'm creating this quote for. So nice little piece of automation there that I can use. And just like I hit the button, I activate the quote, and then I can go on my way where, Power Automate and DocumentsCorePack are going to take care of everything kind of in the back end, right? And of course, with Flow, you have access to lots and lots of different connectors. So it makes it like a really, really powerful option for you. So I do want to kind of go into a little bit about a one-click action and what it does, because it's kind of so important, and you'll see why as we kind of get into the demo. And basically, for those of you who are not familiar with what a one-click action is, but one-click action, we kind of like break it up into three different parts, right? So we have when we're generating a document, we break that up into three different parts. We have our generated, where we generate the document, where we process the document and deliver the document, and then lastly, the review, right? So generating is like, how do I want to generate this document? Do I want it as a PDF? Do I want it as a docx file, etc.? The process and delivery is, what am I going to do with this document when I'm done with it? I'm going to send it via email. I'm going to send it out for an e-signature. I'm going to save it to SharePoint. Okay. And lastly, once I'm done with this, do I want to review the document? Do I want to edit the document, etc.? What we're usually finding when people are using the DocumentsCorePack Dialog, what we found kind of is that, people tend to do the same things over and over again. So what we kind of developed, and this was years ago, was the ability to create these one-click actions. And what a one-click action is going to do for you, let's say, for example, I'm creating a quote. I'm always generating as a PDF. I'm always sending it via email. I'm saving it to SharePoint. And I want to preview the document and preview the quote before I kind of send it off, right? So what the one-click action allows me to do is it allows me to kind of pre-select all these settings and then save them, so that it's just for me, it's just a button click. So I just click that and it does all this stuff without me having to kind of interact with it and do all these settings, get all these settings, right? Again, like I said, this is a really powerful tool. If you used it before, I think it becomes more powerful when you're using kind of the mobile apps as you're going along, as you're going to see here. So today on our first live demo here, what we're going to do is kind of a step-by-step, show you how you can generate documents via the dialogue, also using one-click actions. And then we're going to step into one of those Microsoft apps and basically show you generating a document in the field service app, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring up, got my little mobile app emulator here. All right. And so the first thing I'm going to do is launch into my Power Apps app. Now, I've already got the sales app up, right? And I've already got it like going to my quotes. All right. So you can see here in this, basically, if you're familiar with the sales app, right, I have everything here at my fingertips that I would have on my desktop, right? Again, one thing that I want to point out is, again, I'm using an emulator, so I have the luxury of my mouse, and I'm not on a small mobile screen, right, using my finger to do this. But yeah, so I'm going to pick a quote that I've actually been working on here. And what I want to do is I want to create a quote for it and send it off, right? So this takes a second to load that information for me. Again, I have access to pretty much everything that I have inside of the sales app right here on my mobile device. It looks very similar to what you would see on your desktop. But so here, what I want to do is I want to create the document here, use my create document button. For the mobile app, it's going to be down here in the bottom right-hand corner. So I'll click that. This is my command bar here. So I'm going to create the document. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to step through the process, and I want you to remember again that, I have the luxury of a mouse. So you can imagine trying to do this with, like, if you're actually on the go and you're trying to point and click and do all this with your finger. There is a case here for making this a little bit bigger if you want. So here, I'm just going to create a PDF. I'm going to attach this as an email attachment and select my user to send it, right? So there we go. I got access to basically all the options that I would have normally, like if I was on my my PC in the office. All right. So here, what I'm going to do after I've made my selection, go ahead and click next. The document is being created, right? We're grabbing that template. We're grabbing the info from Dataverse. We're actually throwing that into the template there, creating that document here. And again, I have my document and I'm able to preview this just like I would be normally. I'm able to preview that, make sure that everything's good. And then once I'm done, I can click finish and attach it to an email and then send the email if I would like. So you can see kind of there that there's a lot of little small clicks on the interface. It would be a lot easier to, of course, use the one-click action, right? So what I would like to do here is kind of show you one of what we find, like a lot of the people that we've spoken to that are using mobile apps and basically what they're doing, they're collecting e-signatures, right? One of the things that a lot of people, I think, tend to not use is you can do in-person signing with a lot of these, with DocuSign and with Adobe Sign, right? That's something you can definitely do in the field. So in this one, we're actually going to create that same, quote, right? But we're going to set it up and do like the whole e-signature process. Now, I'm not involved at all. I've already gone and picked all the things that I need. The only difference is I'm attaching this as an Adobe Sign email. I'm doing in-person signing, and this is the person who's actually going to be signing who I want to set up to sign it, right? So same quote, same everything, right? So now DocumentsCorePack is taking that. It's kind of creating my document. Once I'm done, I do have the ability to preview again. And again here, so I'm finished. So I will go ahead. And now it's going to take that document and send it off to Adobe Sign, right? So Adobe Sign is going to take it through the process. I'm going to kind of set everything up for me. And then what I'm going to get back is I'm going to get a link to where I can do in-person signing with this person, right? So you can see where the combination of this and the mobile app would be really good for any salesperson out in the field who has to get, anything like an electronic signature right there. You're able to do so. So here we go. So I'm ready to do the signing process. So just click right here, right? Takes me over now to the Adobe Sign page, right? I've got my quote here. I'm going to go ahead and start. Let's see here. So this is my first signature area. So we'll just tap, we'll sign it. I've already signed my signature here and there, remembered it. So I've signed it here. I'll finish up, right? And then tap to sign. I held it too long. So there we go. So I've signed the document. It's all done. Now I can just go ahead and go back to my sales app here, and I'm finished, right? So I'll get a signed document back and everything like that into Dynamics with that. So pretty easy and simple to do. So that kind of covers that portion. Let's take a look at what it would look like, say, for example, in the field service app. So I kind of clicked that too fast. So I'm in field service here. I want to do a work order. I'm working on my work orders, but again, like you can see here, same kind of thing. If you're familiar with the field service app, all right, you have all your bookings, activities, work orders here. And let's say I'm a guy out in the field. I go in, I do an inspection, right? And I need to create this work order for this particular company. I can just, of course, add my different products and things like that. So I need to, we're going to do some training and safety education for them, and we're going to get them a couple 7DX pumps, right? So here in the field service app, your command bar is where it normally is for everyone, right? So I can come up here, I can say create document again. And here, again, the dialog loads just really easy. I can generate and send the work order, right? Again, it goes through that entire process without any interaction from me. I don't have to pick and choose or anything like that. I can just automatically do, have this thing created, just get everything ready for it. So again, I have my work order. Again, I can preview that, has all my work orders and everything like that in there for me, right? And again, I can hit finish, and it's attached as an email attachment. All right. So with that being said, all right, one of the things that is really nice is, of course, you can, these are we're kind of showing Documents Core Pack in the apps provided to you by Microsoft, right? But one of the other things is, being now that we all are, low code, no code developers, and we are able to create our own Power Apps and use it in the Power app. Okay. You're also able to use Documents Core Pack inside of your own Power Apps, right? Able to do that there. So you can add your document capabilities to your Canvas apps, right? You have access to all 20 plus connector actions, okay? And you can use this, of course, in a Power App. You can call a flow in a Power App, or you can use the connector. The other thing that's really, really nice is you can actually use the API. So you can call the Documents Core Pack API directly inside of your Power App instead of having to use the flow. You can call it directly. Generated documents are basically, you can return them to the app for visualization, right? So as we're going to show here. So this particular app here is actually doing the same exact thing that I did originally. It's creating a quote and setting it up for e-signatures, right? So let's go ahead and take a look at that. I'm just actually going to do this. I'm not going to do this I'm going to do this in here because I kind of want to show you a little bit of the code after we're done and like how easy it is. So here, I'm going to take this first option here. Template selection, have that right here. You can see pretty simple. Let's see here. I'm going to grab this particular template. Then I can send this for e-signatures, and then I'm going to generate the quote. Now you can do this. You can be as fancy as you want. You can make this spin or whatever. But you can see up here at the top, it's kind of working through that whole process. It's doing the create document step. Basically, it's creating that document. And then once the document is generated, it's going to surface it back to the Power App, right? So I've got my document here that I can then download. Okay. Once I'm done with that, okay, I can then send it out for signature as well. It's going to take this document and again, send it off to Adobe Sign. You can see that it's kind of working, and we've got Adobe Sign working in the background. Okay. And then once this is done, once Adobe Sign is done and gives us that link back like we saw before, it'll surface it right here in my Power App as well. There we go. So I can do the whole signature process again. This is really simple to do, right? So hang on one second. Thank you. So for example, here, what I'm doing is instead of depending on a flow or depending on the dialogue or anything like that, I'm kind of setting this, and this is just to kind of show you, this is just the create document step right here. So when I'm clicking this, right, I'm actually generating this document. Oh, well, this is one of my, so I'm setting this to generate document. So I'm using the Documents Core Pack step to create the document job, which if you're familiar with creating flows and stuff like that, you'll know that the create document job is the thing that you use, and it's got the all the nice little things like which template selection, which quote you're going to use, etc., the GUID of the quote, etc. That's a little bit more complicated, but again, we've also done a couple of webinars on this. So if you're interested in doing this, I highly suggest that you do it. It's relatively straightforward. Just go back and take a look at our old Power Apps webinar where we kind of do go through this. And of course, if you have any questions, you can always email us and we can kind of help you through this. But it's relatively straightforward, and it's pretty easy to do. So you can call basically all those things inside of your Power App, and then of course surface those inside your mobile app using the Power Apps app, etc. However you want to do it. So I want to thank everybody for joining today. I want to let you know that there's free trials available for everything that I showed today. There's no functional limitations on any of our trials. So also, any of our products are fully supported, and it takes you roughly about 30 minutes to get started. Okay. So again, thank you.